Sometimes all it takes is a single outfit. That's it. One outfit to ignite a massive global firestorm online. Today, we're going to unpack a story that's about so much more than just fashion. It's really about identity, tradition, and what happens when they all collide in the pressure cooker of the internet. And it all kicked off with comments just like this one. Super blunt, really harsh, and just immediate. This one word, trashy, it kind of captures the raw emotion at the heart of a debate that absolutely blew up. So what are we actually talking about here? Well, it all boils down to this. One K-pop idol, one very important traditional garment for a major festival, and one person's modern take on it that became a flashpoint for a much, much bigger conversation. All right, to really get why this whole thing caught fire, we've got to look at the spark. So let's break down exactly who we're talking about and what exactly happened. Okay, so here are the basics. The person at the center of all this is Lara, who is a member of the new group Katsi. The occasion? It was Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. And the outfit was her spin on a traditional lehenga. But yeah, she added a few modern twists that turned out to be, let's just say, pretty controversial. Now, for anyone who might not know, a lehenga is a traditional ankle-length skirt. It's a beautiful and really significant piece of clothing for festive occasions in the Indian subcontinent. And honestly, understanding its cultural weight is absolutely key to getting why people reacted so strongly. The backlash came fast, and it really came from two different angles. First, there were the people who just didn't like it as a fashion statement. And then there was this deeper criticism, one rooted in a sense of broken tradition. This comment pretty much sums up that first line of attack. The focus wasn't just on the outfit as a whole, but this specific styling choice, having the skirt unzipped to show her underwear. To a lot of people, it just looked messy, maybe even a little improper. And you saw this idea everywhere. For many people, the argument wasn't really against modernizing traditional clothes. It was that this specific way of doing it just felt off. Like it crossed a line from being an edgy style choice into something that felt careless or even disrespectful. Then, of course, you had the other side of the criticism, which honestly had nothing to do with tradition at all. Some people just flat out didn't like the look. They called the fit hideous. For them, this wasn't about culture. It was just a straight-up fashion crime. And this is where the debate got really visual, because it wasn't just text arguments anymore. You had this visual battleground emerge. On one side, you've got Lara's interpretation, and on the other, you had users posting their own examples of what they called a proper low-waist lehenga. It created this instant side-by-side comparison of what they saw as right versus wrong. And that's the real question here, isn't it? Was this all just about fashion? Or was there something much deeper going on? Something about identity, culture, and maybe even prejudice? Let's take a look at the other side of the argument. Because, a really powerful defense started to build up pretty quickly. Her supporters argued that you can't just judge the outfit without understanding the person who's wearing it. And they claimed that the criticism itself was actually revealing some pretty ugly biases. This right here was the absolute heart of the defense. Her supporters hammered this point home. Lara isn't just Indian, she's Indian-American. They argued her style is a reflection of this hybrid diaspora identity. Her connection to her heritage is just naturally going to look different than someone who grew up in India. And this whole idea of diaspora is so crucial here. It's all about how culture travels, how it changes, and how it gets reinterpreted by people living outside of their ancestral homeland. It's this idea that culture isn't a static thing, it's alive, and it's always evolving. But then the defense took a much more serious turn. People started leveling accusations of straight-up prejudice. Her defenders began to claim that this intense backlash had nothing to do with the clothes at all. They argued it was actually fueled by colorism, a bias against her darker skin, and prejudice against her South Indian heritage. And this comment really captures the point her defenders were trying to make. They saw a pattern. They felt like Lara was repeatedly facing these huge waves of criticism for really tiny things. So for them, it suggested the root cause wasn't what she did, but who she is. So where does all of this leave us? Well, basically, we're looking at two passionate, totally opposite viewpoints, where a single outfit became a proxy for a much bigger battle over culture itself. So let's just lay it all out, side by side. On one hand, you have the critics. They saw an outfit that was improperly styled, maybe looked tacky, and for some disrespected tradition. But on the other hand, her defenders saw something completely different. They saw a valid expression of a diaspora identity, a personal style,
and they argued that all the criticism was just a mask for prejudice.
So why should we even care about one outfit? I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a lenga, right? Well, this is about way more than that. This whole situation is a perfect snapshot of these huge questions we're all grappling with right now. Who gets to define what a culture is? Who owns tradition? And in our super connected world, what does authenticity even mean anymore? And all of that leaves us with this final, massive question. In a world where culture isn't defined by borders, where it's constantly being shared and remixed and reinterpreted online, who actually gets to write the rules? Who's the final judge of what's right or what's wrong? And, well, that's a question with no easy answer.